Crying in H Mart by Michelle Downer. Ever since my mom died, I cry in H Mart. For those of you who don't know, H Mart is a supermarket chain that specializes in Asian food. The H stands for Hanarum, a Korean phrase that roughly translates to one arm full of groceries. H Mart is where parachute kids go to get the exact brand of instant noodles that reminds them of home. It's where Korean families buy rice cakes to make dokguk, a beef soup that brings in the new year. It's the only place where we can find a giant bed of peeled garlic because it's the only place that truly understands how much garlic you will need for the kind of food your people eat. H Mart is freedom from the single-aisle ethnic section in regular grocery stores. They don't prop goya beans next to a bottle of sriracha here. Instead, you'll likely find me crying by the banchan refrigerators, remembering the taste of my mom's soy sauce eggs and cold radish soup. Or in the freezer section, holding a stack of dumpling skins, thinking of all the hours that mom and I spent at the kitchen table folding minced pork and chives into the thin dough. So being near the dry goods, asking myself, am I even Korean anymore if there's no one left in my life to call and ask which brand of seaweed we used to buy? When I was growing up with a Caucasian father and a Korean mother, my mom was my access point for our Korean heritage. While she never actually taught me how to cook, Korean people tend to disavow measurements and supply only cryptic instructions along the line of add sesame oil until it tastes like mom's. She did raise me with a distinctly Korean appetite. This meant an over-the-top appreciation of good food and emotional eating. We were particular about everything. Kimchi had to be perfectly sour, samgyeopsal perfectly crisped. Hot food has to be served piping hot, or it might as well be inedible. The concept of prepping meals for the week was ludicrous affront to our lifestyle. We chased our cravings daily. If we wanted the same kimchi stew for 3 weeks straight, we released it until a new craving emerged. We ate in accordance with the seasons and holidays. On my birthday, she'd make seaweed soup, a traditional dish for celebrating one's mother that is also what women typically eat after giving birth. When spring arrived and the weather turned, we'd bring our camp stove outdoors and fry up strips of fresh pork belly on the deck. In many ways, food was how my mother expressed her love. No matter how critical or cruel she seemed, constantly pushing me to be what she felt was the best version of myself, I could always feel her affection radiating from the lunches she packed and the meals she prepared for me just the way I liked them. I can hardly speak Korean, but in H Mart, I feel like I'm fluent. I fondle the produce and say the words aloud. 참외 멜론, 단무지. I fill my shopping cart with every snack that has glossy packing decorated with a familiar cartoon. I think about the time Mom showed me how to fold a little plastic card that came inside bags of joripong, how to use it as a spoon to shovel caramel puff rice into my mouth, and how it inevitably fell down my shirt and spread all over the car. I remember the snacks Mom told me she ate when she was a kid, and how I tried to imagine her at my age. I wanted to like all the things she did, to embody her completely. My grief comes in waves and is usually triggered by something arbitrary. I can tell you with a straight face what it was like watching my mom's hair fall out in the bathtub, or about the 5 weeks I spent sleeping in hospitals. But catch me at H Mart when some kid runs up double fisting plastic sleeves of bangchugi, and I'll just lose it. Those little rice cake frisbees were my childhood. A happier time when my mom was there and we'd crunch away on the styrofoam-like disc after school. Eating them was like splitting a packing peanut that dissolved like sugar on your tongue. I'll cry when I see a Korean grandmother eating seafood noodles in the food court, discarding shrimp heads and mussel shells onto the lid of her daughter's thin rice bowl. Her gray hair frizzy, cheekbones protruding like the top of two peaches, tattooed eyebrows rusting as the ink fades out. I wonder what my mom would have looked like in her 70s. If she would have the same perm that every Korean grandma gets, as though it were a part of our race's evolution. I'll imagine our arms linked, her tiny frame leaning against mine as we take the escalator up to the food court. The two of us in all black, New York style, she say. Her image of New York still rooted in the era of breakfast at Tiffany's. She would carry the quilted leather Chanel purse that she'd wanted her whole life, instead of the fake ones that she bought on the backstreets of Itaewon. Her hands and face would be slightly stinky from QVC anti-aging creams. She'd wear some strange ultra-high top sneaker wedges that I disagree with. Michelle, in Korea, every celebrity wears this one. She'd plunk the lane off my coat and pick on me. How my shoulders slumped, how I needed new shoes, how I should really start using that argan oil treatment she bought me. But we'd be together. If I'm being honest, there's a lot of anger. I'm angry at this old Korean woman I don't know, that she gets to live and my mother does not. Like somehow this stranger's survival is at all related to my loss. Why is she here slurping up spicy jjampong noodles and my mom isn't? Other people must feel this way. Life is unfair, and sometimes it helps to irrationally blame someone for it. Sometimes my grief feels as though I've been left alone in a room with no doors. Every time I remember that my mother is dead, it feels like I'm colliding into a wall that won't give. There's no escape, just a hard wall that I keep ramming into over and over. A reminder of the immutable reality that I will never see her again.